Georgia once again coming up short 24-21 against Alabama. And until Saturday, Chris, here's a little nugget for you with apologies to Buck. I know Buck loves his nuggets. Only 2 college football coaches had defeated Kirby Smart 2 or more times in a row. Nick Saban and Coach O, and both won national championships during those streaks. Well, now you can add Kalen DeBoer to this list, as Kirby has lost to him, obviously, now in consecutive years. Last year in Tuscaloosa, Saturday in Athens.
Next man up, Lane Kiffin in Week 8. Lane gets a chance to actually get added to the list back-to-back years, but that's Week 8 in Ole Miss. I'm sure we're going to touch on them because there's some stuff going on in the SEC right now. That dirt that was shoveled on Alabama, oh, wait, my bad. Let me pull some of that off. Ole Miss, they don't really know how to win that type of game. Well, maybe they do. The Heisman Trophy favorite quarterbacks, see Arch Manning, see Nussmeier, see Allard. What happened to these guys? Well, they're not really Heisman Trophy favorites, candidates, and their football teams have lost football games on top of that.
And the Dogs, once again, start slow. They've allowed 6 touchdowns in the first halves of the 2 SEC games, Tennessee and obviously Alabama. Second consecutive game, they've fallen down by 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Here is Kirby asked about the slow starts.
I don't have an explanation for them. I mean, not starting well on defense. I can't say that it's not really both sides of the ball. The kicking game, we've made some plays. Offensively, we've made plays. Defensively, through 2 games we didn't, but the 2 better opponents we played, we did not execute well in the first. And it's really frustrating because we show we can in the second half. We show we can in the second and third quarter with Tennessee, and with this game, it was more second half.
There's a stat that every once in a while in a one-possession game, your eyes should go to very quickly. What did you do in the red zone? 0 for 3. You lost a one-possession game, you were 0 for 3 in the red zone. I mean, go figure it out. There are moments we talk about runners in scoring position in the baseball game. If you can't score when you have an opportunity to score and it turns into a one-possession game, the fact that you shut out Alabama in the second half and didn't beat them, I mean, again, if I would have said to you...
you only scored 7 in the second half.
Right. If I would have said to you Friday, they're going to shut out Alabama in the second half, you go, what did we win by?
They're going to win by at least 10, I would think. They take that 14-0 lead by converting all 8 of their third downs. 6 of them 3rd and 5 or longer. So you understand why Glenn Schumann is bearing the brunt of a lot of criticism right now online. They finished the game 13 of 19 on 3rd down, the most ever given up by a Georgia defense under Kirby Smart.
Can I tell you the best thing for Glenn Schumann is Mike Bobo is still the OC, because he'll always be 1A if not 2, because Mike Bobo is going to catch the first 3 bullets out of every gun. He just is. That's the way people are wired.
They get a
Schumann then finally had to speak to, and people are like, oh yeah, what about that guy? He turned into what about that guy because they were too busy rattling off the Bobo stuff.
They get a single sack in the game, and it's on a gimmick play on a wide receiver. So Ty Simpson wasn't sacked at all. And the salt in the wound, I thought, was prior to halftime when Alabama had a 3-point lead. They line up their left tackle wide. Split out was Caden Proctor. And not only is he split out, I've never seen this before. I've never seen a tackle split out and then catch a screen that gains 11 yards. I mean, that's the ultimate slap in the face, is it not? That you did something like that and Georgia couldn't stop it? You threw to an offensive lineman.
Do you know what people are saying? Why doesn't Mike Bobo do that? I don't know. That play, obviously, it can work. Why don't we have stuff like that? I just thought Kirby was really interesting when he talked about going for it on 4th down. When you mentioned that you've run that play and it's worked 4 times. Well, if you've run that play and it's worked 4 times, you know what I might be aware of? That play. And you can tell me a guy missed a block, but I'm aware of that play because you've run it enough already this year.
And we'll address that play directly here in just a couple of minutes. Ty Simpson on the night, 24 of 38, 276, 2 scores, ran for a score, had that big 3rd and 5 conversion late, and they were able to bleed the clock after that. And here is Kirby talking about what everybody is talking about, the lack of getting in the quarterback's face.
We got to affect the quarterback. We got to do a better job affecting the quarterback. I mean, we've got more packages than the man in the moon to affect the quarterback, but we got to do it. We got to do it, and we got to go out there and execute and be able to do it. And teams do get the ball out. They have a stat for how fast the ball comes out, and that sometimes the answer to that is don't rush as many. Then you'll sit there and say, well, they're not getting any pressure. Well, you got more people covering, and that's one of those things that you can get over aggressive. They hit us on 2 or 3 screens tonight. There were really good play calls for them, and you got to be smart when you're looking for pressure and they're running screens.
They've had defensive players over the last handful of years that made plays. We talked about this week 1, week 2, week 3, and now after this game. Who's the defensive guy that says, boys, jump on, I'm a game wrecker? I'm going to do something now that absolutely flips a game. Now, again, you don't give up any points in the second half against a nationally ranked team. Alabama's back, whatever that means after that opening day loss. They're a good enough football team where if you shut them out, you're supposed to win. You are supposed to win. If you shut a team out and you're building for a half, and you're a top 5, top 6 team, you're supposed to find a way to win.
But you can't keep starting this slow in a conference like the SEC. Sooner or later, it's going to get you. Could have got you in Knoxville,
Tennessee.
got you on Saturday night. Okay, to the play that everybody is talking about, 8 yards away from taking the lead, 1 yard from a first down, and Georgia passes on the field goal that would have tied the game, and they go for it behind 2 freshmen offensive linemen, the right guard and the right tackle. They give it to a guy that is not a running back. He's a receiver out of the backfield. Cash Jones, the play fails. Here's what Kirby had to say about the play and bigger picture, why it could have worked.
Yeah, we were 3rd and 4, I think. We had decided previous to that if we gained anything, we were going for it. We were going to probably kick a field goal if we didn't get anything. So there's a thing called sequencing where you sequence plays to try to set up and know that you're going to go for it. So we felt like we're going to go for it if we got anything, and we did. We got it down to 4th and 1, and that play has been really successful for us. I think we hit Tennessee on it 3 times for a conversion. We'd run it earlier in the night and run it for a conversion, and we missed a block that you got to make, and they ran through and made a really good play, made a great play to stop it. But I'd do that 10 out of 10 times in terms of going for it.
Now, here's the question I would ask. Not to be a smart guy, would you do it again, and did it work before with Cash Jones in the backfield? Because on the following drive, you decide to throw a screen pass to him. It counted as a rush. So 2 carries, if you will, minus 7 yards. He's not a guy that can run with the football. We talked about his average, less than a yard against Power 4 teams if you take away a 15-yard run that he had last year against Clemson. He's not a threat to run the football. You got Chauncey Bowens, who went over 100 yards. You got Josh McCray, your short yardage specialist. You've got to have better personnel on that play. That's my thought.
Can I do a Sunday to Saturday analogy? Didn't the Falcons not get one with Bijan, and then we go, well, isn't this what Tyler Algier is for? Isn't it the same thing? You go, okay, you can tell me you got a talented player, but maybe his talent isn't that play. Maybe you're supposed to give the ball to Tyler Algier. Maybe you're supposed to give the ball to a bigger guy if you're Georgia to go make that push. Now, I will also say in years past, you trusted your offensive line because your offensive line was good enough to probably make up for what might have been, let's call it a suspect play call. You were good enough up front to push people backwards and probably end up with a first down. Might not be that.
And when you're working with a zone blocking scheme like that, Alex Mack castigated me years ago for using the term timing. If you're a true freshman playing next to another true freshman against Alabama, if your timing's a little bit off, and it was on that play in that zone blocking scheme, a lot of times that's going to happen. So don't run it behind 2 true freshmen. The play before that should have lost yardage. They ran behind the right side of the line, but Gunnar Stockton made a great play with his legs. So I don't know why you went back to the well there.
I'm watching on my phone. Can I ask, and I don't know, did they try to get them to jump on that play? Because that's the other thing. I don't think, it didn't look like there was that moment.
They rushed to the line, but I don't think they had that in mind. Now, if Alabama would have done that, that's fine. I think that's a personnel deal. They wanted them to keep their same personnel on the field, but
don't you
personnel
bark?
Backfired.
Yeah, don't you bark? Don't you actually find out?
I mean, you always do that if there's less than 5 yards.
But it didn't look like, I thought this was, we're going to run the play. It didn't look like they made the man see. It didn't look like you were trying to see if you're going to pull them. Now, look, I don't know when you're supposed to use timeouts. I know when you're not supposed to more than when you're supposed to. It's like the bad manager thing. I know it when I see it. It's indecency.
We're all over Kirby Smart for burning a timeout too soon prior to the 2-minute warning. Kirk Herbstreit especially was questioning that. So
which goes into the idea of when was the last time we actually talked about the staff collectively and wondered, did they have a good game or not?
Listen, it was a bad night. And with 3.5 minutes left, they punt away, and Alabama converts that final 3rd and 5 with 1:51 left. Georgia's out of timeouts, and that's it. That's your ball game. And now you got Kentucky coming to town. You're a huge favorite in this game. Kentucky's an awful football team. So I don't know where your mind is going to be, but you need to bury this team. It's the last place you want to be out there, but you have to take out your frustrations on somebody. When I say the last place you want to be, you don't want to be out there after another loss, but especially your first loss of the season. But somebody's got to pay the price. And Kentucky has to pay the price.
You didn't get lucky against Tennessee. You won the game. Alabama didn't get lucky. That conversion on the 3rd and 5, by the way.
That was a perfect play call. There was nobody there. The running back was able to just slide and stay in bounds because nobody was near him.
And that goes back to why don't we do that? That's a perfect play call. Wait, they threw in an offensive lineman? Why don't we do that? Wait, they just had a perfect play call on a 3rd and 5 to make sure that they ran out the clock? Why don't we do that? That's the problem that Mike Bobo has. And again, I'm not telling you got lucky beating Tennessee. You got lucky-ish, but you did beat them. Then all of a sudden you gave one back against Alabama. I just can't believe. When was the last time Georgia threw up a donut in the second half of a game and didn't win it?
I mean, you would think that that's never happened. You would think, right?
I just think you'd be hard-pressed to find a day where you go, no points in the second half and you lost. I don't know if anybody can die for the record books. It just seems like something so obscure. Maybe somebody will have it this week. But those two things don't really roll around my head and say, oh, yeah, Georgia lost that game.
And somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I believe when a Kirby Smart team has rushed for over 200 yards, which they did on Saturday, the record prior to Saturday was 39-0. So everything seemingly, if you just give the stats, shut them out in the second half, ran for over 200 yards, everything would indicate that Georgia won this game. However, the first half does count as much as the second.
By the way, throw it home. 33 in a row. You lost it at home on top of that, too. Is anybody getting scolded, by the way? Any not enough noise? Did anybody, was that a thing yesterday?
I don't believe so. I mean,
there was never like a moment of, what's going on around here?
No, the crowd did their job.
Okay.